Welcome to the Voice of College Football, Rutgers, live with you every Monday at 7 p.m. on YouTube and available on Spotify as well and other platforms. I am Gabriel Pickup. My co-host Adam Lamparello cannot make it today because he is a lawyer and he has lawyer things to do, unfortunately, but it's okay. And Donovan Gibbs last second cannot make it, family emergency. He's perfectly okay, but keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And I'm joined here by special guest for the evening, Arnav Sarkar. He is a Rutgers alumni, actually, and he writes for On the Banks and co-hosts the Bell Must Ring, which is another Rutgers podcast. So, Arnav, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's all accurate. I have graduated from Rutgers this previous May. After 5 years, I've been involved with several student organizations such as WRCU, the Rutgers Marching Scarlet, which is actually where I found my love for college football. Currently, I write for On the Banks, and I host the Bells Must Ring with Andrew Rice, which is not officially affiliated with SB Nation, but we basically, that is kind of the podcast for the website. We cover all Rutgers sports, heavy focus right now on football. We try to do our best with the non-rev sports as well, like soccer, volleyball, and field hockey, pretty much everything that's going on. But yeah, no, it's certainly great to be on. I always love chatting about all things Rutgers. I mean, I spend a lot of my days covering the team, writing about them nowadays. So I mean, it kind of just fits right in line with all of that.
Yeah, of course. And it sounds like you definitely know your stuff with Rutgers, not just football, but as you mentioned, other sports too. We're going to be talking about football on this show, but tomorrow I'm actually going to be joining your show at 10 a.m. So if you wanted to update on that.
Yeah, no, yeah, we're having our weekly episode tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's not going to be live, but it will be posted shortly after to the usual platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. We'll talk about Rutgers football, the state of the season, as well as, recapping the Minnesota game, maybe a look ahead to the Washington game, although we'll dive into that the following week. And then we'll also talk, like I mentioned, the non-ref sports, like, both men's and women's soccer, women's volleyball, field hockey, pretty much just an update on whatever's going on. I also saw wrestling just announced their season schedule, so that might be another thing that we talk about as well. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Should be a good one. And then as on the bottom it says, you can follow me and my work at Arnav Sarkar _ on Instagram. My Twitter handle is actually Arnav Sarkar 100, so you can also follow me there. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, you can do that, and then you can check out my work at On the Banks, as well as Empire Sports Media. I also cover mainly the New York Giants there. They do a really good job at covering all New York sports, especially with the Yankees in the playoffs right now. A lot going on there.
The Giants, man, so it sucks.
Yeah, the Mets did miss the playoffs.
It was such a stinger of a way to leave too.
I know, in the most brutal way, the Mets, fell short. The Yankees are through. They didn't get the bye, but they have Boston coming up. Really excited about the Red Sox series, and Jackson Dart making a start against the Chargers, winning that football game. So I had an article on that. I'll have one shortly coming out on receivers that the Giants can use to replace the injured Malik Neighbors, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to over there. So like I said, you can follow me at those places. And yeah, I mean, in terms of Rutgers though, like, really disappointing loss, obviously, against Minnesota. And I mean, I definitely love to talk about that in whatever way you want to.
Of course. We got a whole thing here. So we're going to be talking about that. But first, we're going to be talking about actually the first 3 games of the season and what we liked and disliked in comparison to the previous 2 losses. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the Iowa and Minnesota losses, and then how Washington looked on Saturday, what we can expect from them moving into the season. Just really quickly first, just a message from Voice of College Football founder and CEO Mark Rogers.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
All right, thank you, Mark. And would you look at that? The banner underneath magically has the correct X handle, Arnav Sarkar 100. That seems like an early Christmas miracle, if you ask me. Now, Arnav, let's talk about the first 3 weeks of the season and if they were fluke wins because of the opponents, if anything changed. What do you think you saw out of the first 3 weeks that was either different or the same, but just had to do with opponents in terms of that versus the past 2 weeks?
I mean, yeah, like I think the identity looked completely different. The offense obviously a step ahead of the defense. That's kind of what we saw towards the end of the 2024 season as well. I mean, the offense just really coming together. The defense also did kind of rebound from where they were in the middle of the season too, which is nice. And then even the 2 losses to Illinois and Kansas State, the Rate Bowl. I mean, the offense was in shootouts. It was a promising defense. I guess didn't hold up their end of the bargain so much, but they competed against, I would say, pretty good teams. Like Illinois was ranked. Kansas State, I don't think was ranked, but they were still pretty solid at 8-4 in the Big 12. They've also kind of had a little bit of a rougher start to the season
Kansas
this year.
State, they were ranked this year coming in, and I said from the beginning they shouldn't not just be ranked, but they're not going to have a good year. And
yeah. I mean, I was watching the opening game against Iowa State is the one I remember, but they also lost to Army. They barely beat North Dakota. Yeah, their season's gone downhill, and they lost Dylan Edwards in the opener. They got him back, but I thought it was going to be a good year for them. I mean, like they were going to be one of the contenders, but because like honestly, with the Big 12, I don't really know too much, but right now it looks like Texas Tech, Utah, Iowa State looks really good. But anyway, I mean, in terms of where the Scarlet Knights are or were in the first few games, I mean, talking about scares like Ohio, like that's a really good group of 5 team. They almost pulled off the upset. And I think what makes them a really good team wasn't even so much that they were so close, but the fact that they came back from down 17, they rallied back, they tied the game. You know, even when Rutgers had, I mean, I wouldn't really call them flukes because, I mean, DT Sheffield's a downfield threat who caught that pass. The punt block, that's something that Rutgers specializes in. So Ohio also made a mistake. They muffed the punt. And, you know, as hard as I'm going to be in Rutgers later, I mean, I have to say that those were mistakes they made. But at the same time, they rallied back and they did a really good job with that. Then they go on to beat West Virginia and outright. I mean, well, not outright, but I mean, they beat West Virginia outright and they challenged Ohio State for 3 quarters, which I was really shocked by. I mean, Rutgers has never done that except for 2 years ago when they also had a lead at halftime. So shout out to Ohio. But I mean, Rutgers holding on in that opening game. I mean, their offense did, you know, really win the day for them. I mean, their defense got 1 stop. They were really otherwise not great at all, especially in the second half. But they were able to pull through, and the offense held the ball. They got that 4th down conversion, but it was a really big scare. And then second week, yeah, it was right. And opening
also,
game too.
I was saying all year or all off season rather, whenever Adam brought up Ohio and said it should be an easy win, I was saying hold on to your horses now. And I thought that it was crazy that we were actually 14.5-point favorite.
Yeah, me too. Like I was so surprised.
Too, right?
Yeah, I was like, when I saw the spread go up from 10.5 to 14.5, I was like, no way. Like that should not be. I know people, you know, it's Rutgers, it's a Big 10 team. I mean, Rutgers has been on the other end of these spreads. Like it's nice, but at the same time, I was just like, yeah, that's not like a team to underestimate. Then I kind of looked at their roster and I was like, well, they are starting a lot of new players on the O-line, the D-line, and we're also bringing in more talent. So because of that, I could see it. But then like Ohio just proved everyone wrong. And like I said, they rallied back from down like 17, 14 at half. And that was like really even more, because you think like the better team, like if it was the other way around and Rutgers comes back, like I could be like, okay, you know, maybe Ohio got fluky ahead, you know, whatever. But the fact that Ohio was Rutgers ended up getting like almost like what were the fluky plays, and then Ohio came back and made the adjustments. That almost showed that Ohio on another day could have won that game.
Oh,
Rutgers
absolutely.
Right. Rutgers almost, I would say, got lucky in a way to be able to hold them off.
Based on how they played all year, that was almost a 50-50 game. And Parker Navarro, he was a one-man show out there. And
oh my God,
you know, like looking at the roster beforehand, that's the part that surprised me. I didn't know if we would score that much, but I thought our defense would look sound against a roster with a receiver that no receiver on Ohio's roster had more than, I think it was 26 catches for 300 or something yards and 3 touchdowns last year. And they had a receiver get 9 grabs for 100-something yards and 2 touchdowns. And that's something that, like, it seems like happens every week with Rutgers. Is someone where so they looked good against Ohio on offense. They looked good against Miami of Ohio. You could say against Norfolk State, statistically, they looked good on both sides. But to me, the consistent thing from the first 3 games, and it translated into the game against Iowa, and it kind of metamorphosed on against Minnesota. But then we had another problem: was the run defense was horrible in all 3 games. Even Norfolk State, the run defense was bad. And then Iowa, they put on a 2-man wrecking show for the scrambling between Mark Gronowski and a backup running back, by the way, because I believe their primary running back got injured that game. Minnesota running game finally comes together. The running defense, rather, finally comes together. And then, they decide that, hey, this isn't Ethan's homecoming game. We're just going to make our freshman quarterback look like he is everything Ethan is supposed to be. So that to me was the difference, was the run defense that never got solved in the first 3 weeks. But what do you think of the other 2 games? We didn't really talk about the Norfolk State game or the Miami of Ohio game that much, so.
Yeah, we mainly focused on Ohio just because of how good a team that was, how big of a scare that was. But I mean, I think you kind of said it. Like the trend stayed the same. I mean, the margin of victory got better and better and better, but it just still got. I mean, like Rutgers still showed the same problems. And it wasn't only in the run defense, it was also the pass defense, which continues to be a problem. I mean, I've been saying it for a few weeks, like they've been allowing plays across the middle of the field, the deep parts of the field to the receivers. They've allowed quarterbacks to scramble. DeQuan Finn in Miami, Ohio, who's a very conservative offense. They like to play ugly football. They were like loading it up and sending it downfield. And that was like really scaring me. And then Rutgers again built a 14-point lead at the half and then again gave up a touchdown. But then this time they pulled away, thankfully, for Rutgers. That game was a rain delay. It was already a long day. I mean, I think the last thing we would have really needed was a loss or another scare. So Rutgers, I guess, put the concerns to bed. Then Norfolk State comes into town, and that's Michael Vick's team, but they were by far the most overmatched team, and that wasn't really a fair fight. Although even then, I mean, like you mentioned, the run plays were there. Quarterback was able to run.
I mean, if it wasn't for 2 blocked punts in the first quarter, it would have been a competitive, at least 3 quarters.
Maybe. I mean, at least maybe a competitive
15-point swing.
Yeah, at least it would have probably been a competitive first half. I mean, I don't know, like the Norfolk State would be able to score, like to keep up with the Knights, but Rutgers' offense would have taken a little bit longer to get going. And I think there's no doubt who would have won that game at the end of the day, but it would have taken longer for Rutgers to get off the mat. And that's also but I mean, just again, the big plays, I mean, because of the talent disparity, the size and strength disparity, which often sways those games even farther, like Rutgers got a win. And, there was all this optimism, I guess, going into Iowa, because at the end of the day, they were 3-0. Ohio, like we mentioned, they look really good against other Power 4 competition. So maybe, we're thinking, okay, that's not really a bad win. I mean, they still did it, but then I think everything took a turn for the worse when they played the Hawks. And I don't know if you want to get into that one next.
Oh, no, we definitely will. It's just looking back at the 2 games that were blowouts that we won. Our offense looked great in both, but it was key defensive plays that changed the game. I don't know if you want to consider a blocked punt, defense, or special teams. I consider it a little bit of both. But to me, the bow nose interception where the Miami of Ohio team could have actually taken the lead. Game, because that could have been another upset for all we know. Besides that,
I mean, that was a huge momentum.
I was saying with Adam actually that so we made Parker Navarro look like Lamar Jackson, but we made DeQuan Finn look like Parker Navarro.
Yeah,
and it kind of transcended in that way. But by far, the best passing performance against us was last week. Against their freshman quarterback, by the way, and he had career highs in passing yards, touchdown passes, quarterback rating, completion percentage, all the above against us. And and Minnesota has faced Buffalo this year. They've faced Cal. So they faced defenses that should be inferior. Coming into the year, you would think that a Rutgers team would be defensive identity, but our offense has been the one holding us down. Our juggernaut passing game has been holding us down. And Ethan looked pedestrian a little bit last game, but overall, he still performed like a top 10 college football quarterback all year.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with that. Like he certainly, the offense has been carrying the load, and the defense has really struggled to do their part. And I mean, that just showed up again in Big Ten play, Iowa, Minnesota. I mean, the non-conference, like I like to call it the non-conference mirage, but I mean, they almost got exposed even there. But then they did rebound and they ensured some comfortability. But that defense just continued to be a problem and be a problem. And then what happened in Norfolk State, I think, was also interesting because 2 kicks got blocked, and that was just a precursor for what was going to happen in Big Ten play. So I thought maybe, okay, that's weird. Like Jay Patel is very accurate, but maybe it's something to do with the punt, like the kick blocking scheme or whatever. Like I don't know, maybe it's just a fluke. Like who knows? So then again in Iowa, like special teams really like all of a sudden they also look bad, and now like a defensive and special teams minded team like Rutgers like looks bad on those two and good on offense. And it started from the opening kickoff of the Iowa game where Kane Weegan, who's by the way really good returner, returned a punt against UMass, but that was a really tough one. They coffin cornered him. He was zigzagged around the field. This time, just a straight line like opening drive down the field. The excitement was at an all-time high. I mean, the boardwalk, like you name it, like the marching band, the pregame was, everyone at the stadium was packed, and the area like goes out the building on that one drive. And then Rutgers comes back. They rally. They put a good fight. They take the lead. They kind of play their style. But again, their defense is just so horrendous that Iowa has no problem marching down the field, like both on the ground and even through the air, which is shocking. And they even hit a couple deep balls. They hit like all the open spots on the field with their tight ends, with their receivers. It's just like I don't understand how this just happens week after week. But it's just
I mean, we made 2 straight quarterbacks look like Heisman potential candidates, and
right? And like Gronowski
realistically,
so much too.
Realistically, either of them are going to be in the competition, but we made both of them look like they could be. Who knows if Drake could be later on, but this year definitely not. It's just concerning. And Adam was saying that the transfers on defense just aren't doing the job yet.
I mean, no, they're definitely not. And I think the one thing that I was like really anticipating this year in the portal was on the front line. I mean, like Bradley Weaver, who did have 2 sacks against the Gophers, by the way.
He did good last week.
Yeah, he had a good last week. Eric O'Neill had a good week against Iowa. He had like a big sack. I think he had a couple.
He had a 4-for-1 stop too.
Yeah, exactly. And like both of them, he had like a TFL in the run game. He had a big sack that got the stadium really excited. And I mean, but other than that, like the 2 of them have been very quiet. Other transfers, I mean, the secondary's just been like really like god awful, I would say. I mean, Jet Elad's been blowing assignments.
The only guy on the secondary I think has been doing his job is Bo Masco.
Bo Masco, the interception against
Tim Miller has. Yeah, he not single-handedly, but he helped turn that game around. And Cam Miller has had his flashes, but to me, Jet Elad and Jacoby Henderson, who are both very capable players and perform really well even in Big Ten play, they've both been getting burnt out there. And it's confusing. Jet Elad, when you think about Miami of Ohio game that second quarter, he let 2 70-plus yard passes get past. And Jacoby Henderson last game, they were targeting him in the second half every play.
Yeah, our nickel corner, he's had his good moments too, and like so has Cam Miller, but it's just they're very like inconsistent. Jet Elad's just been like pretty downright horrible in my opinion. Like he hasn't really done a lot well at all.
I'm still happy he earned his eligibility though.
Yeah, me too. Like like he has an ability to kind of blow by into the backfield or get a big play here or there, and they all do. But like the secondary's just been like, I would say the worst part of this entire team. Like, I mean, of the defense. I mean, and then the linebackers. Like, I mean, you have DJ Jabome, and Moses Walker's down. Abram Wright in his place. I mean, the penalties
down for the year.
I know he's injured, but I mean, the penalties have been awful. Even when the defense makes a good play, oftentimes there's like a holding penalty. There's one on Ashadi Salam that
that one sucked. The one against who was it against last week? That they didn't even replay the penalty in the secondary.
I don't remember who that was. It might have been Miller, but I forgot who that one was on. It gave Minnesota like another down, basically, right?
Yeah, give me like 10 seconds here, and I got you with that. And also, Jet Elad, what he reminds me of is prime J.R. Smith on the Knicks. He does some things that no other players can do, and it was Kaj Sanders.
Kaj Sanders, yeah. And that's another guy who had like started as a freshman, who's had really good looks on special teams, and he's also been a little bit disappointing at safety too, allowing big plays.
He's one of the few guys that didn't just transfer over.
Exactly. Like he was there, he earned his starting position last year as a true freshman and really incredible, like, as a high recruit and everything. And then, it's just so disappointing. It really is. And the D line I thought would be better. Obviously, Daryl D Nagoe, or was it Nagoe or the other, what,
Denigoe,
no, he's been playing, but the
yeah,
other defensive tackle, Doug Blue Eli was out for the
Eli's out for the
season
year. Yeah,
before it even started, and then which has also been a big problem. But like, I mean, I don't know. I just expected more out of Weaver and O'Neal. I mean, I know they were starting to pick it up, but I just thought they would be game wreckers the way they were in the G5, and maybe it's harder in the Big Ten. But even against a group of 5 and FCS opponents, like, didn't see too much of it. So I'm just not too sure like who's to exactly blame for this. I mean, obviously Rob Smith, the coordinator, like DC,
yeah.
like
No,
he's probably the main. He's the main guy. I mean, I know that
I've been giving
Sparber's
him hell. I've been giving him hell since this Minnesota game. I don't want to.
everybody. Yeah,
I don't want to say fired, but I don't think he should be calling plays on defense. I think
no.
it should be on Shiano.
Yeah, I think Shiana. I mean, he's a defensive-minded coach. Like, I think he knows what he's doing on that side of the ball. The defenses have been very, very good for the longest time. I mean, obviously Harris Simiak, like, last year that still kind of fell apart. He went to UMass, but I mean, it's just interesting because you have a 2 coordinator system with Smith and Sparber, but Smith is obviously the one that's calling the shots. There's so many transfers. The scheme, I feel like even more than the execution, the scheme's also just not great because so many times there's just players like not knowing where they're supposed to be or giving up open plays or not even giving up open plays, but the receivers will catch it and then allow like another 15 yards of like some of that can't be on the players because I feel like as much of it is execution, but a lot of it's also like where the player's supposed to be in the first place, like what's going on. There's not a lot of pressure. The run defense hasn't been great, although last week it kind of has.
It finally looks like the run defense kind of got there, but
I
of
think
course,
so,
as
yeah.
soon as that happens, the sidelines open up, the middle of the field opens up because I think we were over focused. It's like you remember how the Chiefs in the Super Bowl they shut down Saquon, but literally everything else worked. That's sort of what it looked like.
Yeah,
UMass.
I was kind of.
We're talking about Harisniak going to UMass since the start of the year. UConn 47 points, Temple 42 points, Bryant 27 points, Iowa 47 points, Missouri 42 points.
Yikes.
So not looking good for their defense either.
Nope. No, definitely not. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Saquon, yeah, I mean, that was also, I mean, for me as a Giants fan, that was unfortunate. But I thought the Chiefs kind of had the right idea, and obviously they clearly didn't. And same thing with Rutgers. Like, I thought in Iowa, I was kind of hoping they'd stack the box a little bit and, to kind of just try to do that. But then Iowa just kind of like exposed them with the pass, which, again, that's kind of shocking to me. And they kind of had their way with the run. And Minnesota, at least the run defense hit, but then like you said, the pass, like, I mean, big plays and middle of the field plays. It's like, all over the place. Like, just, that was just really disappointing. Like, the middle of the field's open, the deep part field is wide open. Like, I don't know if this could be fixable, but I mean, Rutgers did it last year at the bye week, like where they completely fixed the defense. They completely changed the scheme of the defense. They just built it up because they were like, this is unacceptable. And this year's defense is like even worse, like than that one. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, this defense, I know the schedule is tough, and I know like Rutgers either way might not win a lot of these games, but you'd want to at least have a capable defense, even if they lose in hard fights. You want to have something that you can be proud of. So if that means changing the defense in the bye week again, like I'd say, like instead of firing Smith, why don't we do that? Maybe change who calls the plays. Maybe it's Barber, maybe it's Chiano. That'd be my recommendation.
Yeah,
it can't be worse than like what Smith has done, right? Like,
Sparber is okay. So Smith he's also the linebackers and cornerbacks coordinator, I believe, and so that makes Sparber he's the defensive line.
Oh yeah,
okay. Or is it flip-flop? I might be mixing that up. But I believe that's worth a shot, or Shiano too. Yeah, okay. So Sparber is defensive. He's linebackers coach, and to me, you're giving him reins over 2 guys because we run a 4-2-5. Part of me wonders if that's why the run defense has looked so lackluster because you only have 6 guys on the front instead of 7.
Yeah, because we're running a 4-2-5, and then the secondary is still like the worst part of the defense on a bad defense, which is just like really frustrating. But yeah, I mean that's unfortunate. We have a 2 linebacker scheme, obviously. That's fine. I mean, a lot of teams do that, and the linebackers, like, I mean, I think that's probably been the best part of the defense too. Like, I mean, at least Jabome and then
you can only do so much if there's 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly, right. And last year Jabome led the team in tackles. And then I mean, supporting role Moses Walker. Now it's going to be Abram Wright, but so
Oh man, I miss Monterey though.
I know
He's
Monterrey would have
looking
been
great in Miami.
he would have been so needed. Yeah, I mean, Miami's having a great season. He's doing great, but I mean, that's interesting. If Sparber's like you said, he's the linebackers coach, right? So then, and they're like probably the best part of the defense. So yeah. I mean, and then our other guy, Smith, he's also like the corners and the D line coach. He said.
Yeah. So Smith is technically, I believe, the secondary and D line, but
Interesting.
he
So he
also
just
calls the plays.
right. So he's like monitoring like what I would say are the worst of
Yeah.
3 units, and he's calling the plays, and then Sparber is coaching the linebackers, which has probably been the best part of the defense. So
I mean, he's looking like literally Smith is looking like the Nathaniel Hackett for the Jets
yeah,
coordinators. And I'm not gonna say I want him fired because like Smith, I'd love to have him on the show. I'd love to talk football with him. I'm sure he knows his stuff with football. Just
right.
something's not working.
Yeah,
And there's a
something's a
lot
little
of
bit off.
like,
Yeah,
and you can't even be as not personal. You can't be as heartless with your critiques in college football either because they're not professionals yet. So
yeah.
it's
Right.
tough because the Rutgers fan wants to be like, oh, fire this guy, change this, new coach, new
Right. New
recruiting,
everything.
whoever. But
Yeah,
you got to think reasonably, structurally, how are you going to
yeah.
solve this?
It's so hard to build a program, and I think like a lot of the I guess gripes I'd have with other programs too, like Iowa and Penn State, are like, why can't you take the next step? But it's also so hard as to get to where you are, and same thing with Rutgers too. Like if you get another guy that's not Shiano, like who
No,
knows like where this team would be? So like you can't just like as much as I know people would want to, you can't just like like throw them out and just put the cart before the horse and hope for
he's
the
the
best.
best coach in Rutgers history.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we have like an Indiana situation going on where you could just shoot up like all at once. So we have to do it our way. And yeah, exactly. He's the best coach. He's done it once. He's done it again. We've seen what happens without him. And I mean, like the defensive thing is just not something has to be changed. But hopefully we can fix the scheme. I wouldn't just outright say fire Rob Smith. At the same time, I mean, they did fire Sean Gleason when the offense wasn't performing. It's not unprecedented. I mean, especially now that if you have another coordinator ready to go, like
And
it
that was
wouldn't
week
be.
3, right?
I think it was later on, but like the
Oh,
offense was misfiring. I mean, they barely beat Boston College and Temple. The offense had 16 points. A lot of people wanted it then, but I looked it up. It was actually I think that move actually happened before the Indiana game with Nunzio Campanile coming in there. But I mean, yeah, but the point is like it wasn't unprecedented. So especially now that you have Sparber, in the fold here, I mean, it wouldn't be unprecedented to take Smith off of play calling, or maybe just even get rid of him outright. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but I would assume they wouldn't just do that, probably, most likely, given the
just
way Rutgers has
fired
been.
him.
Yeah, just maybe at least change the play caller. Like I feel like that at least needs to happen. So I hope they do that. But
The
I mean,
laundry coordinator. That's what Jason.
yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, they should. Yeah, maybe who knows? Maybe they
And
should do
again,
that.
he might turn the away uniforms
Oh my
pink.
god. Yeah.
Honestly, Jason, you have given us a lot of comments, and I'm thankful for it. But this is by far the funniest thing you've ever said.
You might turn the away
Yeah,
uniform.
Jason's a regular on the show. He tunes in every week, and to everyone else that tunes in every week, I am very thankful. And along with Adam, who should be returning next week, I've said that several weeks now, but it's a long case, and it's one that's actually personal to him. And Donovan usually is on the show. We're all thankful for the regular viewers. So Arnav, I actually didn't even have this on the script, but while talking about Shiano, made me think about this. Do you think that he, both as a coach and a recruiter, has adjusted to post NIL and post division swapping, Big Ten play, NIL
Right.
recruiting? You think he's adjusted?
I'd say compared to a lot of other Rutgers coaches, like in basketball, like yeah, he has. I mean, he's always been like a proponent of that kind of stuff. He said like whether you like it or not, we have to do it. Maybe he's not the biggest fan. I know culture is a big thing, the chalk culture, but he
Yeah.
has used NIL in the transfer portal. He's like pleaded with fans, or he's at least made the case. He's talked to donors on Wall Street even before we've gotten Kelly's in.
You heard that press conference, right, after Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean,
He's
yeah.
like, pay us. If you have money, pay us.
Exactly. He said it before too, like like at like club meetings, things like that. He's like, we have a few months before people are going to poach our players. Like, like let's pony it up. So I mean, Rutgers does a good job, I would say, with the fan collectives. It's obviously not good enough. What they have done now is, like, obviously now they brought in, like, President Tate, Kelly's in, people who, Todd Nisley, people who really believe in NIL and, using the media markets, all of that. So I feel like all that's going to help. And I like the way Rutgers does use the portal, though. I mean, what they've done is they've built a culture, and I think that's important. But they've also, like, acquired players and talent that can help that culture, but also add significant talent. Like, although the D line hasn't lived up to it, I was, like, very high about Eric O'Neill and Bradley Weaver.
Yep.
Those are great. On offense, guys like DT Sheffield, and in secondary, getting Cam Miller from Penn State, like we mentioned, Jacoby Henderson. Like, a lot of that defense was yeah, I mean, a lot of that defense is transfers all over the place. But yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree with that comment too. I mean, Gianna's always been a big proponent of NIL. He's worked for NIL more than I'd say probably any coach at Rutgers, especially at the bigger programs. So I mean, I think NIL is probably going to take a big step under the new administration, and I think that's very necessary because, like, that's pretty much what all the other colleges have done. But I think now he'll have the support to do it. He's always been big on it. He hasn't had the most help, but now hopefully he has the help. He should have the help to, really get this on the right track.
I mean, if you think about it, he started his coaching career at Penn State. You don't think Penn State was paying guys under the radar? Like, they all were doing that. And Penn State is probably the biggest. I don't know if you consider Ohio part of the Northeast. I would say it starts at Pennsylvania. I would say Penn State is probably the biggest school in the Northeast in that case. And they've probably been doing that since college football was on television. So I mean, like, I think the biggest difference is that now it can be done publicly. It's very similar to legalization of marijuana. Like, it was always done, and now people can just kind of go about it without feeling shame for doing so and being hunted for it. And I made the case, you were talking about guys getting poached at the end of the season. I kind of made a pitch on a Saturday after the Minnesota loss, because that really felt like the all was lost moment of the year, which, by the way, if losing to Big Ten competition by one score is a heartbreak instead of expected, I think that Shiano is doing an okay job.
Yeah, it is an improvement. I mean, that's the frustrating part for so many Rutgers fans. But I said it after Iowa. I was, like, big on, like, oh, this whole thing is ridiculous about we can't beat a team in a bigger tier. I mean, why is Iowa the standard and they're one tier above us? They barely, they've also, I would like to, like, their model is also a mediocre one. Why are we trying to, like, on one hand live up to it, but at the same time beat ourselves up for losing to them in a competitive loss? But then Rutgers lays an egg the next week at Minnesota, and, like, now my point's kind of
that one did sting a little more.
That one did sting because now, like, that whole tiers argument just went out the window because they lost to a team in the same tier, or you know what I mean. And now,
even though, funny enough, Minnesota was favored more than Iowa.
Probably because
they were home.
Yeah, I think so. I think that 3-point swing probably, I was like, I think a 3.5 point favorite or something. I think it even dropped from there. And then Minnesota went up to 5.5. But a lot of, people were really nervous about Iowa. It was on both sides. It was kind of like what felt like a 50-50. This one, a lot of Rutgers fans and analysts and writers had confidence, or like, I think we get it. I think we get it. Iowa's in, like, they're not, like, quote unquote a better tier or whatever. And their defense has been suspect, and Rutgers should be able to get a win. And obviously they lose. So it's just like, but yeah, compared to where they've been, 3-0 in the non-conference wasn't a guarantee. As much as I love to complain about that, it was not a guarantee. That I used to always be like, oh, that's BS. It's a fake start. Like,
Miami of Ohio,
teams, yeah.
Miami of Ohio and Norfolk State should have been guarantees. I did not think Ohio ever was, but in terms of Iowa,
either, yeah.
In terms of Iowa, God forbid we lose to the winningest quarterback in college football history.
Right, Gronowski. He wasn't going to be like dead all season. Like, they got him for a reason at that program. Like, I know he struggled the first few weeks, but when they started opening it up against UMass, I was like, he's not just going to be horrible all season just because he's at Iowa. We've got to respect the pass a little bit. We've got to stack the box. I don't think, like, either of those things happen. So, it's just unfortunate that they lost to Iowa. And
it's just unfortunate because it looked like a Rutgers game instead of an Iowa game, and everyone
and they still lost. And my whole thing was, if they play the way if they play their own style of football this year, they can win. And they basically did play their own style of football. They dragged Iowa out of their shell into a shootout, and then they somehow still lost. And I was just like, oh my God, like, like everything I was just talking about this whole time about if Rutgers gets to the high 20s, low 30s, they win that game. I put money on it. Like, that's all out the window. And, you know what I mean? Iowa scored 38 points on this Rutgers, on Rutgers, on this defense. And that's one of the worst parts. The special teams, again, wasn't great
And yet
either.
our offense put up more points against Iowa than
They
Indiana.
had in any of the previous meetings against
Indiana
them.
did and Iowa State did. Like, we put up the
Right?
most
We put up 28 points, and we still lost against a good Iowa defense that's one of the best in the country, and we still lose the game. And Greg Schiano even said it. I mean, 400 yards of offense and 28 points is more than good enough to win, and it absolutely, absolutely was. And yes, they made a mistake. Calic Manis threw an interception, but also that pressure came, and Needham was also banged up. That's also a problem. But at the end of the day, you really can't blame the offense too much. I mean, the rest of the team let them down. They did more than their part to be an Iowa team that's usually very weak in offense. The rest of the team didn't step up, and that's why they lost. And as for the whole tiers argument, like, as much as I personally hate thinking about it, I don't blame fans for saying, when are we going to take that next step? Because I mean, whether you think Iowa's a good team or not, I mean, at the end of the day, they've proven it. They win 8 games a year. Rutgers has never done that. So if I think it's fools. I think it's malpractice to equate a win over Iowa to being Iowa. But if that allows our fans to dream and enter that conversation, I would have been happy to do it. But the problem is they lost. And not only did they lose, they lost the week after to Minnesota. So like I said, now this whole tiers argument goes in the trash because now they lost to a team in our tier. So now I can't even talk about whatever Iowa, who cares? Like, I can't even say that anymore because now they're going backwards. Not only is there no progress. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was really disappointing. I mean, like, Iowa wasn't really that great this year. They were unranked. They were 2-1. I would argue.
It's crazy, and it almost happened, but
it almost happened.
I was listening to Mark Rogers, the Voice of College Football founder. I was listening to his post game show because he did one for, I believe it was Rutgers, Iowa, and there was one other matchup. I forget which one it was that week. There was one other big one. I want to say
Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State lost and fired Mike Gundy.
I think it was that, yeah. And so he did the post-game show for that. And there was an Iowa fan that called in, and they were going through the schedule, and she was like, yeah, we can beat Indiana. We can beat Penn State. And I was laughing. You're not beating either of those teams. You're not getting close. They almost did beat Indiana.
They did get pretty close. So, I mean, like, they did almost beat Indiana. So, I mean, I guess, they almost had it. And it's just weird for me because I was like pushing back. I was like, this isn't a good Iowa team, and we have to be out of our minds for beating ourselves up. We almost won the game. We can't just say they're an upper tier team and we're a lower tier team. And even if we are, who cares? Because that's not the end all be all for Rutgers anyway. We have better things on the horizon. And then the team goes out there and they just throw all my words in the trash and they just lose to Minnesota. So now the standards have gone even lower and out the window. So now it's just like really disappointing. I was trying to make this whole case, trying to like motivate our fan base to say to do better and not hang on to a loss over probably the worst Iowa team we've seen in a while. And then Rutgers decides to just lay an egg against the Gophers and now put bowl eligibility at complete risk. So I mean, it's just really disappointing what happened, not only against Iowa at home in front of a blackout crowd, a great atmosphere, all the hope, but then go on the road and you can't even rebound from it. You can't beat a Minnesota team that's in your level or in your league or on your tier, whatever you want to call it. And now, they're looking at Washington, who's, I would say a better team than Rutgers, and they're looking at the rest of their schedule.
I'm going to get into that. Their offense has been super efficient this year. So that's going to be scary. And, even with the 6 points against Ohio State, their offense still looks scary. And that's against one of the better defenses. But what I wanted to say, digressing a little bit to, you were saying the, sort of at the end of the year, like everybody jumps ship. I was actually making the case after that Minnesota loss on Saturday. I was saying, guys, please don't jump ship. Because is like, if you guys stay and we still do good in the portal, then all of a sudden we can be a top 10 team in the Big Ten, top 5 if you want to be bold in a couple of years. And, we'll have a sophomore quarterback who has looked good. He looked good against Norfolk State. Yes. Good against in the spring game against the first string defense.
Yeah.
So my thing was to all the underclassmen on offense, not underclassmen, but the 9 seniors with eligibility. The Raymonds, the CJ Campbell. He has another year because he got hurt. If he comes back, the high school duo of Duff and Strong, if they come back,
Strong has been insane. They've all been really, really good.
I mean, Strong has Strong has the most catches in the Big Ten, and he missed a game. Like this is a team on offense that they could be up there with, not, I don't want to say talent wise, but like production wise and statistically up there with the Ohio States, with the the Alabamas, the Texases, the like Oregons, whoever, the Penn States. So I was making that case because, man, a lot of these guys are going to get some big NIL money after this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, especially in the case of like Ian Strong, someone like that, or I think Sheffield's probably out of eligibility, but
yeah, he's declaring after this year.
Yeah,
sure.
But
and by the way, he's good. I'm still waiting. I need that Rutgers moment, man.
DT Sheffield, yeah, he's dropped a few, but he's also been overall pretty good. I would say he's had his moments, but he hasn't had anything like other. I mean, the go ahead, the speed touchdown against Ohio was pretty.
Yeah, that one was
pretty good way to make your entrance as a Scarlet Knight. But then after that, like, we haven't really had that. The other two guys, though, I mean, KJ Duff and Ian Strong have just been like out of their minds. There's like, I guess, Strong's a junior, so I mean, between potentially getting other offers or even going to the NFL, I mean, he knows what he's going to do. Like, he could definitely declare after this season, especially if he keeps it up.
If I'm Strong, I'm sticking. I don't know if I'm sticking around here. Maybe I am, but I'm definitely sticking around, not just for NIL money, but to really look good against some underclassmen some underclassmen defenses.
Yeah.
Because Strong, Duff, and Raymond, in my opinion, they all look like NFL guys. And Ethan, he certainly could. I think he's more of a UDFA at this point, but I think he'll make a roster.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's been throwing the ball, and I mean, his accuracy's improved tremendously. Like
that was the only thing holding him back.
Yeah, his accuracy. I mean, he has quite the arm. I mean, just the way he's been finding guys, and he's had usually a pretty good line. He's had really good receivers, but he's been putting the ball in the right spots. He's been, I think, top 5 for most of the season, and passing yards for Big Ten quarterbacks. So it's just they've been really, really good. But I mean, unfortunately, the rest of the team kind of hasn't, and that's obviously what's holding this team back. So I mean, it's really unfortunate, especially in a really big moment against Iowa like that. For the team to finally say that, as much as I think it's BS, but like, we've made it in the Big Ten, as much as the fans, like, that's how much the fans wanted, that they'd be willing to settle for that as a big moment. And the team couldn't even give them that. And then they lose to Minnesota on top of that and say, hey, let's completely take the wind out of our sails. And that's just even more disappointing. But now we have a bye week. We have a trip to Washington. And you're right about the Huskies. I mean, I mean, that's true too. I mean, like, with less and less quality wins, like, it's going to be hard to recruit if you're just hanging your hat on the lower tier of Big Ten and non-conference. Like, you can only do that for so long. Like, you have to be able to take the next step and say, we're getting there. We're getting, that's not good enough to just say we'll get there. We have to say we're getting there. We're doing this. Look, this is what we've done. And they've been on the upward trajectory. But if this season, if they don't make a bowl, that's just going to be a big hit, like, especially with an offense like this. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we do. I have serious doubts. So I mean, like, I felt like Minnesota was one of the games they needed to win, in addition to Purdue and Maryland, and now that one's off the table. So now we're basically with two games that you can pencil in wins. You can't even guarantee them, because Maryland's look a lot better. Purdue's looked a lot better too, and I don't even know if they win both. They probably win one, but
that's
I don't
what
know
I was going to say. Is that's, if you look at the title of this episode, it's "Will Rutgers beat a Big Ten team?" And it sounds ridiculous in context, because
imagine they don't, and they go 3-0 and 9 the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, do we beat a Big Ten team? Because the only team we're going to be favored against is Purdue. I don't think we're going to be favored against a single other matchup.
Not even Maryland. I mean, Maryland's
looking great so far.
Yeah, they just went into Wisconsin and beat them 27-10.
Yeah, they looked great against them.
Their quarterback looks pretty good too, and Malik Washington.
In basketball, they say they have the Crab 5. Well, the Crab 22 is real.
Yeah, they look so much better. I had like the most serious stats about Maryland out of any team, probably, except for maybe like Northwestern. I don't think I even knew about UCLA, or maybe not even Northwestern, like Purdue. I was like, Purdue might be. I was like, Purdue might be worse because they've just been horrible. But Maryland, like, they, their 4-8 team lost I think a lot of their best players on defense and offense. And I was like, well, who's coming in? How are they going to even? They might not even win a conference game, and then like they end up doing this, and like they might at the very least be a bowl team. They might pick us off. I mean,
Jason,
at this rate, they probably should. I mean, I don't know. Apparently we're their rivals or something, according to.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't hate Maryland. Like, I don't know when that started. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't know when that started. I don't know when the hatred part started.
I don't think the hatred has really been there.
I think there's two bigger rivals, and one's not even a rivalry. It's just a rival because they keep stealing our damn recruits. Penn State, they keep stealing our damn recruits, and just the fact that they're like the next state over, they're like
I mean, Rutgers fans hate Penn State,
and then Minnesota. Those are
because of all the the players,
the storylines.
I mean, Shiraka, back and forth.
Yeah, like Shiano versus PJ Fleck, like they both know each other so well. I think they have one of our old coordinators on staff too.
Yeah, I think Rob Smith used to coach over there. Chiraka used to coach over there, obviously. PJ Fleck used to coach over here. So it's just back and forth. Cal McManus used to play there. I don't know. I mean, personally, like. Yeah, I mean,
probably McManus is, I believe, or actually no, Dino didn't.
I think both of them actually did. Well, he didn't really play there, but he transferred over with Ethan, I guess.
Yeah.
He wasn't really he still isn't really like a big time player, but I was so happy for him to get his first touchdown from Saray. Yeah, but I mean,
I kind of wish it came from the arm of his brother, though.
I know, that would have been really cool. But I was happy for both Cerise because that was also his first touchdown, and Dino, and then Michael Thomas had a beautiful one. So there's a lot of fun in that Norfolk State game.
Vernon Allen, who got hurt too, he's really good too.
Yeah, he had a really good performance like in the spring game. So yeah, I mean, next year Rutgers offense again could look pretty good, but it's this other side of the ball. But in terms of rivalries, I mean, Maryland, it's been like kind of I don't know. I guess they're both equally matched at times. It's been streaky. Like Maryland's won a few, then Rutgers won one, and Rutgers has had their moments. And it's the I-95 battle, but now it's officially, I guess, according to whatever the Big Ten's rolling out, that's considered a rivalry game, I guess, which maybe it hadn't been. Because they always play them at the end of the season. This year, then now they've played them a couple like weeks earlier, so it's just like. I don't know. I mean, it's not really a real rivalry. I'm kind of liking that if Rutgers continues to get better, and the way that there was so much, like this whole grudge thing against Iowa was annoying, but at the same time, I do kind of like them as a rival because it's just like they're the standard, and we should like be able to beat them.
I mean, I like Iowa.
It's been like that. It's weird. Even in 22, 23, when we were way worse, there was always like, oh well, we're Iowa light, and we should be able to beat them. And look at and then
Iowa's 5-0 against us.
Yeah, so but if we maybe if we ever do beat them once or get closer and closer, maybe they could become a rival. Michigan State's been a fun one too for us.
Iowa, I feel like. If we had beat Iowa on week 4, it would have looked like 06 beating Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but like the way the fan base is, like I don't know if they would have stormed the field, but it would have been a big win for us. It would have been a signature win for us. And we played them in a few years. Like, I don't know if that's a rivalry either, but like, it's just.
You know what? I think that Penn State views us not as a rivalry matchup wise, but again, rivals in the recruitment game because we have recruits. I mean, and also, we got Cam Miller in the transfer portal.
Exactly. So it's like a regional recruiting rivalry. I would say in terms of competition, I don't know about Iowa. Maybe not. But like, I mean, Michigan State, I think was
just because it's like, how when the UFC first started, it was like, I don't know how much you know about like MMA, but it was like you got two different MMA styles to fight each other. That's sort of what Rutgers, Iowa is. It's two different styles of football that play each other, and that's why it's an exciting rivalry.
It used to be the same, like it was often the same style of football that like played each other in a lot of ways, like with defense, special teams, and that's kind of when it became like, they're like the same type of program. It's going to be ugly. And this year, Rutgers flipped it, but Michigan State's also been a fun one that I would probably say it could, between the comeback that we had and beating them last year and the 7 turnovers game. I mean, the Michigan State's had their wins over us. They've been similarly middle of the pack. Like, I feel like that would be a fun rivalry for us. And they're both like the Spartans and the Knights. And I think there was some whole thing about them stealing our chop or something, which it was not even true because that's our thing. But that would be a fun one that I would like to promote.
I mean, you can't. Rutgers can't steal anything when they're indigenous to college football. It was
Exactly.
them and Princeton, first ever
Right?
matchup.
Yeah, Michigan State had no right over our chop. So anyway, I mean that was a fun little thing when it was going. They obviously had their way with Kenneth Walker, but the last couple of years we've beaten them. So that's a fun one. But I mean, in terms of Maryland looking, to digress out of this point, Maryland looks pretty good as a
Yeah.
team. Like at least I don't know. I mean, again, it's gonna be tough. I mean, will they win both of them? There's a chance. Will they? Maybe they win one. Maybe they win two. Even if they win two against Maryland and Purdue, where's
Well,
the other one going to come from?
for
So
the
like.
sake of our program's foreseeable future, we have to beat both Maryland and Purdue, in my opinion. Even if
Yeah.
Maryland is the favorite, we have to beat them.
Just so we can even have a respectable season, because there's
Yeah.
as much as 4-8 and 5-7 both suck, like there's a difference, and
Yeah.
you want to be like we just missed out versus like we were awful and we can't win the Big Ten, because if we go 4-8, that's basically going to be what the narrative is. So you want to
Yeah.
at least say, okay, we just fell short, and we at least beat the teams we should have beat. As much as I like to hate on that, but like at least like let's do that. But now Washington is another like kind of measuring stick game for us in a way where but even though they don't have that like respect that Iowa has because they've been wildly inconsistent, but they're a team that Rutgers is going to be an underdog in. They're going on the road to play Washington. And yeah, you're right about the Ohio State game. I mean, as much as they only scored 6 points, I mean, Texas scored 7. Nobody's really been able to score a ton on them. I think Ohio actually had like 9. That's a season high that they've allowed. So I mean, it's just Washington was still able to move the ball. They just couldn't, they couldn't really get in the red zone. Again, nobody's figured out how to do that since last season. So until somebody figures out how to do that, don't want to hear about that. I mean, on the other side of the ball, the Washington defense looked pretty good. They got like a stop. They got a fumble on like a weird kickoff return.
24 points from Ohio State is
not a lot.
That's always a good showing. But it's
Exactly.
just their offense that concerns me. Like Devin Williams, over the past 2 years, he has a 78.1 percentage completion last year, and then this year 75.6. And he has 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, QB rating, or not QB rating, overall rating 177 and 186. And he's also rushed for almost 500 yards and gotten 4 rushing touchdowns. And their running back too is killer.
Yeah, Jonah Coleman is
so he has over 2,000 yards rushing in his career. This year, he has 9 rushing touchdowns already. And last year he had 10. He has 6.8 yards per carry, 5.5, 6.5. He's only lost 1 fumble. So that is a scary MFer. And I heard a lot about Denzel Boston too. Their offensive line has looked great, giving him a lot of time. And oh my God, they got 2 hatchets too on the literal hatchets on the offensive line. And Taki Finau, that's a great name. He's going to be matched up against Eric O'Neill, so that should be fun to watch. But yeah, that's what concerns me is not just that, but you're in that Seattle environment, right? That stadium looks like the freaking what's the name of the Star Wars not the fighter, is it the fighter, whatever the little dark side things that go like this look like
little jets. I don't know. I'm not like a big Star Wars guy.
Oh man, I should have remembered it because I am a Star Wars nerd, but I forget. But yeah, that thing is filled to the brim. Even against Ohio State, it's intimidating.
It was, but the thing, I mean, Washington did score 38, 70, and then 59 against their non-conference, including 59-24 over Washington State. Ohio State flipped the script on them. They held them to 6, but they were in the red zone a couple of times. I mean, Williams has been extremely accurate, which I noticed since last year. 18 for 22, 173 yards. Coleman, 13 carries for 70 yards. One of the receivers, Desmond Roebuck, 4 receptions, 58 yards. So I guess it was a quieter one for Denzel Boston, who had 3 catches for 26, Coleman 3 catches for 26. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, they weren't really able to score any touchdowns, but again, nobody's been able to figure that out. And then on defense, like that defense was very malign. Like they were questioned because Colorado State scored 21. Washington State scored 24. Those were very close games, but this defense held Ohio State now to 24 themselves. The first half, it was 7-3. So, I mean, it's a bend but don't break defense. So then eventually Ohio State ends up scoring, a little bit. I mean, they didn't really run away with it by any means, but they got the win. And, so, I mean,
you could say, on one hand, like that shows how good Washington is. On the other hand, you could say Ohio State's had 2 straight weeks of struggling against inferior competition.
You could,
And
if you
yeah,
include the Ohio
Washington's
game.
schedule too. I mean, they lost to Ohio State by 18, which on paper that is still like 3 possessions. And the only 3 teams they faced before that, none of them were anywhere close to even how good Rutgers is. Colorado State, UC
Right,
Davis,
right.
and Washington State. And I'll be interested to see how they perform against Maryland next week too.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one
That's
because
a good measurement for both ball clubs because we don't know if Washington is going to look good against actual competition other than
right,
the elite of the elite. And for
yeah,
Maryland, we don't know how well they're
they
going to
will
continue
too,
to do. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. It'll give us a lot of
for sure. A lot of answers.
it'll give us perspective for Washington and sort of Maryland too.
Yeah, because I mean Maryland also like they they had their non-conference and they go into Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't look too good. Washington's kind of like again like to use the whole tiers thing. I would say they're like in my opinion they're a better measuring stick game than Iowa is. I like them more personally, but maybe that's just me. But either way, they're like middle to upper tier ish, and Maryland's kind of I guess my point being neither of them are elite and neither of them are horrible. So for Washington, I mean it's what I mean. They've played 3 teams that they've outmatched completely, and then they've played a team that they've gotten outmatched. These are like relatively even teams. Washington should be the favorite on the road. It's a long way away, so I mean who knows how that affects anything. But yeah, it's going to be a good game to see where these two stack up against each other. I mean I would expect Washington to win, but I mean I'm not sold on that. But Rutgers going in there, that's going to be a tough.
Ooh.
Like you said, tough environment.
Jason's going to the Maryland game.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that should be a fun one. I'm gonna with Rutgers being on a bye week. That's probably one that I would want to watch in the.
I think it goes down to the last possession.
It probably will. I mean, because this isn't like a Maryland team that's just going to roll over like in Big Ten play like they.
I mean, I think Washington wins, but I think it'd be like 26-20 or something.
Yeah, it could be a 1-score game because I mean Maryland too. Like they've had their moments over the past few years. They've taken a huge step back, but then now they've looked pretty respectable. I think Washington does win.
A Maryland alumni just what's it called? Baby mama Cardi B. So
yeah, and talking about Stephon Diggs, so. Yeah, that's pretty recent, but yeah, I mean, in terms of that game, that should be a really good one. It's probably going to be a big one for us, to watch because Rutgers plays both of these teams. Rutgers needs wins over at least one of these, or probably both of these teams, if they want any shot at bowl eligibility. Plus Purdue, so if they can't beat Washington, bowl eligibility is basically completely out of the window. So I mean, because they're not going to beat Illinois. And I doubt, and I don't even know if they're really going to beat Maryland and Purdue.
Well, we could beat Illinois. I think Illinois is a little overrated.
That is true too because
they beat USC, struggled. And don't get me wrong, beating USC, who I think still could make the playoffs, is a hell of a game to win. But the rest of the year, they haven't looked great, and maybe that was sort of the pace changer. But man, Illinois, we were one bad mistake last year from beating them, and we almost beat Kansas State, who came into the year ranked 13th. Illinois, just something about them, they just don't feel like they're on the same tier as the Michigans, the rest of the Big Ten competition that isn't Ohio State, Oregon, or Penn State. I don't think Illinois is better than Iowa. I don't think they're better. They're not better than Indiana. Obviously, we know that. They're not better than. I'll still give USC the edge in the long run. I think USC is still better. To me, Illinois is middle of the pack.
They are. I think. I feel like. I mean, there's a lot of expectation on their side of the program. On their side of the, for them to have that Indiana season, and they still could. I mean, they have one loss, right? I mean, maybe it doesn't be
a crazy loss, but it was
it's a big one. I mean, it's not going to look good, but I mean, if they can, I mean, they'll probably have another one in two.
Is it crazy to say that Illinois could go undefeated this year for the rest of it and still possibly not make the playoffs because of that loss?
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, I don't think they will because I mean, Ohio State, they played them in.
No, I'm not saying they'll go undefeated. I'm saying if they somehow do go undefeated.
Well, I don't know. I think the resume, as bad as of a loss that Indiana one was, Ohio State beating them would probably redeem it. So they probably get in, but I mean, it's just woof. Yeah, I don't know. But in terms of us, I mean, it's still going to be tough for us to go in there and beat them, especially the way we're playing. But I mean, I have the season and.
I'm hoping that they're pissed off. I mean, unfortunately, most of the defense that got torched on that one play last year isn't here anymore, but I'm hoping they're just pissed off that week.
Yeah. Hopefully, Rutgers is a little bit upset. They go in there, ready to win. But it's just like I have the season divided in like three tiers, I would say, or like three. Like there's Maryland and Purdue, which I mean they've been must wins, and now they're like even more must wins. Whether they get both of them or not is I don't know. I don't know.
Even if we go 0-4, 0-5,
the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's still
those two are still must wins. Just even like for any any respectability this season, those two are must wins. For any chance of bowl eligibility, those are must wins.
To stick around too.
Yeah, because if they like lose both of those, like then people are going to call it for his head because that's even more truly unacceptable. So if they
think about this too, like to everyone who wants Shiano gone. Who are we replacing him with? I know Adam has, for one, said go get Urban Meyer. I'm saying no chance that happens because think about how much money that would cost. But if we stay interior with it, we're going to let Rob Smith or Zach coach this offense. I mean, I would say, what's his name? The offensive line coach. I forget his name.
Pat Flaherty.
Yeah, he would be our best bet. But
yeah, maybe Chiraka can coach the defense. I mean, I don't think he can get much worse.
True. Pat Flaherty would be the only guy that, if we're sticking inside with the staffing, I think would do better than Shiano, but could even be on the same playing field as Shiano.
Could be, because he has so much NFL experience, like with the Giants. He has like the storied career. Like he knows O-line, but I'm sure he knows the rest of football as well. Obviously, you don't just become like a coach like that. Like
I think with Shiano.
Yeah, exactly. He's been with the staff for like a while, or been around Rutgers football, college football, NFL, like the whole 9 yards. But it's been familiar with Shiano and what they've done. So definitely for Rutgers, I think the best way would be internally if they were to replace him. But I mean, I've always liked him. I always believe in. But if they take that big of a step back, where they go from like 7 to 3 wins in year 6. And they can't win a game in conference play, even if they win just one, like it's just going to be like it's going to be really disappointing.
I don't think they lose out. I'm just saying, besides Purdue, who are we favored against?
Probably nobody. Like, I mean, Maryland, but I don't think so.
But outside of that, like, who are we favored against? Like, I mean, granted, like every team that wins a few games wins a game or two that they're underdogs in. But it's still like. Yeah, and Jason, you said it perfectly there, that Shiano is the only coach. He's like our Nick Foles almost. Nick Foles, he goes anywhere else, he doesn't look good. And then before Jalen Hurts, the only quarterback that wins a bowl in Philadelphia. And Shiano, it's not the Super Bowl, but it's a bowl that we win against Miami. It's the 2006 magical season. And who knows if he's gone, because he'll leave eventually, who we replace him with, how we perform. It's so much in the future, but anyways.
It could be years and years.
Hopefully it's in a few years and not at the end of this year.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, because we've made major strides, like the last few years, like 6 wins, a pinstripe. This last one, even disappointing that they finished at 7-5, and they should have really been able to, with that kind of a schedule, that should have been at least an 8-4, 9-3 year. I mean, it's just really disappointing. But still, I mean, even then
was USC.
Yeah, I think USC was their best team on the schedule that year. I think they were ranked at the time, but I don't think we played any other. Illinois was ranked. That was another.
I mean, we did face Patrick Mahomes though.
Oh yeah, and Dylan Raiola. That was another loss. That
was
like at the time the season was feeling so good after Virginia Tech and Washington were like, well, when we lost in Nebraska, I was like, okay, well, I guess Rutgers isn't going undefeated. And
I'm not really a Dylan Raiola guy, but like. You know what sold it for me was losing to Wisconsin.
Yeah, and the way that they did, and then UCLA the week after, who was also like not the really not really good that year, and then then USC, but then they came back hard, so and they still went to a good bowl. So like progress has still been there, but if the progress just goes away this year, like in the year that they're supposed to finally take the next step or whatever, then like that's just going to be disappointing if they not only can't do that, but they take a massive step back. So, but anyway, I mean, I guess I wanted to just say, like, in terms of the rest of the season, just for respectability purposes, they need to beat Purdue and Maryland just to get to 5 wins.
Yeah.
But then the Washington, Illinois are like, well, they're not impossible to win, but they're going to be pretty damn hard. So, I mean, but then
games after that, outside of that, though, your final bracket, list them. I know which 3 you're picking.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, we got Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State, and neither of those, like, Rutgers is probably going to have less than, like, a 10% chance of winning. So I mean, those are pretty much sure thing losses. It's not a matter of losing, but it's how much we lose by. And
Yeah.
the way this defense is, I mean, Oregon could absolutely line us up, and their defense is also pretty solid, as we saw against Penn State. Ohio
My
State
only
is
thing is the only game that's even manageable in my opinion is Penn State. Not because
maybe.
they're not because we like roster to roster can compete with them, but Drew Aller makes silly
Oh,
mistakes.
he makes so many silly
And
mistakes.
the
Yeah.
fact, I mean, their run game is probably that's the only thing. Their run game is probably the best in the nation, and
Yeah. Singleton and
our
Allen.
defensive run is possibly a bottom 10 in the nation in the FBS. But think
Yeah.
about how sweet it would be. And I like Tavion Branch. We had him on the show, but man, losing him to Penn State, I don't know how familiar you
Oh, our commit. Yeah,
are.
that
Yeah, he
was
was
unfortunate
the
too.
number one defensive tackle in Pennsylvania. We get him. He's a 4-star. Decommits, joins Penn State not even a week later. And
Yeah.
he had that offer since May, and he committed to us in July, and then pulled out like early September. But imagine beating Penn State in
Instead of Tavian Branch and some of the
yeah.
recruits.
Oh man,
I know. It's a
like
Rutgers
I wish him
dream.
well, but that would just set such a nice tone.
Yeah, I mean Penn State. That game's gonna already be a fun one and senior day, and I mean I'm sure Rutgers fans are gonna do the favorite chant or whatever, but it's just not really gonna matter because they're so much of a better program and team. Even though they lost to Oregon and whatever, like they still in this game I would give them credit because they were down by 2 touchdowns and they came back and they tied and they forced overtime. They've taken it, like I would say in some ways they've taken the next step forward, at least for compared to where they are. But even if they didn't, even if they got embarrassed by Oregon, it'd still be like way, way, way better than Rutgers, especially this season where Rutgers has embarrassed themselves against way lesser teams. So, I mean, that's besides the point. But I mean, in terms of the tiers, yeah, Maryland and Purdue are like must wins, whether they get them or not, TBD. And Washington, Illinois are like tough uphill battles, but not impossible. And then Oregon, Ohio State, who's the class of the nation, I would say the best team hands down. And then Penn
Yeah.
State, who's not too far behind either of those two. Those are going to be pretty hard for Rutgers to win. It's just a matter of how much do they lose by. Can they keep it respectable? How many fans show up? I mean, Oregon, we probably get a decent crowd. It's homecoming. There hasn't, it's not going to be like a home game for a month. We probably get some of their fans in attendance, and probably the same with Penn State too, and Ohio State. I'm sure the shoe will be full or whatever.
Oh,
but yeah, those are going to be some tough games for,
I mean,
for the Scarlet.
they made Arch Manning's timbers shiver. So I think
Exactly.
it makes
Cali
sense
Granites.
for him to have a disappointing year. Who was supposed to be like the consensus number one overall pick, the consensus Heisman favorite. But what does give me hope, not to beat them, but to keep it respectable. And it's sad that you have to talk about that with any matchup because you think about professional leagues, you never
Right.
say that.
Yeah.
But what makes it respectable to me is how they've looked against Ohio and Washington.
Yeah, those teams have been in the game for a long time. It's
I
like
mean,
you're
Ohio
imagining
had the ball with a chance to take the
to
lead in the third
in
quarter.
the third quarter, right? And they didn't, but I mean, yeah, I think they even had they had a touchdown, and then Ohio State had a field goal, and then it kind of from there it went off. But yeah, they had a chance in the third quarter to take the lead even, and that's how close they were, and that's Ohio. And then Washington even longer, I think, resistant, but eventually they break through. So. I mean, yeah, Ohio State, like their offense against good teams hasn't been the most impressive. Their defense certainly has, but I mean, that's going to be the problem.
I'm a fan of Sayan. I think that
I think
he's
he's
a very
pretty good,
smart.
honestly.
He's one of the smartest freshman quarterbacks I've ever seen. He doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
He doesn't really take too many risks though.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, as long as we focus, and again, we've had one or two burners this year against Jet Elad, but as long as they don't do the check downs on us every single play, that's something we have to fix.
Yeah.
Their
They
running back
definitely could.
situation is okay, but it certainly has been better. That's the only
Yeah.
part. Like matchup wise, Penn State is the toughest matchup because they run the ball down everyone's throats,
Yeah.
and we have no solution to the run defense. But Oregon has the best overall offense, and Ohio State has the best overall team. So it's like a three-headed dragon.
They're all different, right? Like Penn State probably has the best run game. They have a very solid defense. Ohio State has probably talent-wise could be the best offense. They haven't really unleashed it, and like the best defense hands down. And then Oregon has like a spectacular offense, and also like a pretty good defense too. That maybe he's going a little bit
And
under the radar. So
they have a coach who's crazy, both literally and with the Mamba mentality too.
yeah, I mean, did you see what he like posted after the win?
Yeah, kept the receipts.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we silenced the crowd, and he posted Mo Bamba on his story. So yeah, Dan Lanning is nuts. I mean, Oregon, explosive offense, physical, tight defense. Ohio State, best defense, probably best talent on offense, and Penn State, probably the worst formula for Rutgers, right? Like running the ball. Their defense is also pretty notorious as well. And on top of that, they like to put on a show against Rutgers for whatever reason. So that, I don't know, maybe that comes into play too, where they
Maybe
just
they feel
embarrass Scarlet. So we'll
maybe
see.
Maybe they feel disrespected that we're even like an opponent against them.
Yeah, maybe they probably hear the chants, like and all the little brother mentality, and we're like, they're supposed to be in our league, and then they come here and they just shut that down. And it's the same thing with like Pitt and whoever else wants to do that with them, Temple, Maryland. But for us, it's like
Temple.
So.
I can't believe Temple Oregon was a matchup this year.
Yeah, wait, what? Oregon?
Temple Oregon week 3, and Temple, to be fair, was 2-0.
Yeah. I mean, well, they played Oklahoma.
They played
at the link.
Oh, Oklahoma. That's what I meant, not Oregon. Yeah. They played Oklahoma in week 3 after UMass and Howard.
Right.
What a difference in opponents.
In competition, right? But the thing is, Temple with our former quarterback Evan Simon, they looked pretty good those first 2 weeks, and there was like, okay, well, they did pretty good then, and they're not going to beat Oklahoma, but maybe they keep it relatively close, and then nope, like that just like it goes out the window altogether, because Oklahoma's like a top 5 team in the country this year. So, but yeah, I mean, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, equally tough in different ways. Like now that we said it a couple of times, you're right. Like they have had Penn State's probably the worst matchup, like running the ball. Oregon's probably worst matchup because they could do a lot of both. And then Ohio State, I mean, their defense is going to be the best of the 3, and then their offense has like the biggest playmakers, which is not going to be good.
They don't make mistakes.
And they don't make mistakes either. I mean, they'll force everyone else into making mistakes and take advantage, but they tend not to make them. So,
my prediction for Ohio State is we double Jeremiah Smith the entire game, and he still gets 10 catches for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, God. Yeah, we got to double Jeremiah Smith. I mean, their run game at Ohio State, like this year, it's not – they don't have Quinshon Judkins. And
honestly, our run game might be better.
Yeah, I mean, they have like with Bo Jackson, Donovan Peoples, like or James Peoples, and I mean, I don't even know who else. Like, I mean, they have another guy, CJ Donaldson. They're okay. They're not bad, but it's just they're nowhere near elite.
Bo Jackson?
Yeah, Bo Jackson's looking like their best back. So, I mean, it's all about the receivers at Ohio State this year, and it's all about saying. But I feel like, against us, I mean, they're going to be humming in the pass game. Like, there's no question. So, I mean, it might take a little while because, that's just how it goes. But, I mean, the way our defense is, it also might not.
Oh, my God. I didn't even know that his name was Bo Jackson. That's crazy.
Yeah, like the legendary baseball football player.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah, but that's, yeah.
Yeah, and so with Washington, do you have a score prediction?
I mean, like, dang, I have to think about that one. I mean,
do you have an outcome?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see them like, I don't know. I mean, they could like do something really incredible over the bye, but yeah, that 24-6 Ohio State win over Washington, that's like that's very misleading because at the end of the day, like Ohio State has the best red zone defense in the league. Washington still has playmakers. Washington's defense actually looked pretty impressive holding them. I mean, none of this is going to be the case against Rutgers, like probably like just about none of it, other than the fact that their offense looks pretty good. So, I mean, against Rutgers, I mean, I think Rutgers also has like ability to score a bit though. Like, I mean, I don't think, they won't like, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough environment. I'm going to try to be a little optimistic and say like, I'm like looking at like that Iowa game and like, I mean, that score of the Iowa game is like speaking to me right now. So maybe it's probably not going to be the same exact thing, but maybe we'll go on a little bit on the lower side and go Washington 35, Rutgers 27. I mean, I feel like that's a little optimistic, but I'll say like Rutgers, he probably covers the spread in that game and loses by 8.
Yeah, we don't know what the spread is yet, but it says here that we have a 24.4% chance to win according to ESPN Analytics.
That sounds like about right, to be honest with you, because like.
So I'm guessing the spread's going to be like somewhere from 7 to 10.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right. So maybe they do cover it, spread, maybe they don't. But my early prediction, which is subject to change based on how they look against Maryland and stuff like that. But like right now, I'm gonna go UW 35, Rutgers 27. I don't know if they really do score 27, but I figure with an offense like ours, we probably at least get close to that amount. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I'm thinking hopefully our defense looks the best that it has looked, just because I hope they're doing something. It can't be the same product every week.
Yeah.
So assuming that they're doing something, I'm saying 20. It's a funky score, but I feel for some reason 29-26 is speaking to me.
I mean, like the 3-point margin sounds about right. Like I probably want to go with 30-27 if we're going to go.
Okay, if we want to go like traditional actual scores here, I'll say like 26-23.
That one, yeah, that's probably more reasonable. I mean, so Washington wins, though, you're saying?
Yeah, I think they're gonna win.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a tough road environment, and unlike Ohio State, like that stadium isn't gonna be half filled with Scarlet and half filled with purple. It's gonna be like 90%, maybe even more than that, like purple. And I don't know which Rutgers fans. There are gonna be some who go, but I'm not crazy enough to do that, unfortunately. But like
the first game that I'm predicting we lose.
That's the thing. Like all the first 5 games, like win. Even Iowa.
I mean, Iowa was 50-50. Adam said that they were gonna lose, but then Donovan said they were gonna win. I said that they were gonna win.
I think most people who were in the Rutgers base, like, and even a lot of people in the Iowa base, like they both wanted to go with their teams because there was legitimate reasons on both sides why they could. And I thought, okay, yeah, if Rutgers plays their style, they win. And obviously that didn't happen, but there was real reason to believe a win. Minnesota, same thing. Like, yeah, they might have been the betting underdog, but people thought, yeah, I mean, Minnesota hasn't, whatever. They had the statistically top defense in America. Very suspect because they allowed 27 and a happy Cal attack to go off. So I was just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, Rutgers, they can do that. And, Minnesota's offense, I mean, they have a freshman quarterback. He can make mistakes. Like, Rutgers could take advantage. Like,
we made him look like
to pull it out.
It was
exactly. And then that happened. And then Drake Lindsay looks like I don't even know which quarterback you want to use, but like he looks like really an elite one. So then
I was thinking we made Mark Gronowski look like Jalen Hurts, not because like he played ugly, but he did what it took to win, and he ran the damn ball.
He did run the ball. But yeah, in terms of your point, this is the first week I'm going to be picking a loss for Rutgers because, yeah, I mean, I can't just keep having up. And this is, I would say, out of Iowa to Washington, with no disrespect to the other 2 teams, Washington, for me, is the best, like probably even by a decent margin. I think they're better than Iowa. I think they're better than Minnesota. It's a home game for the Huskies. It's on a Friday night. That might be tough because they're coming back from Maryland. But even with all of that, like, I just don't think... Wait, what?
That is quite the journey going.
It is, and then this week they were home too. Like, so they go to Maryland, then back. So we're on
a lot of
jet miles, and we're actually we have the net rest advantage. We're coming off a bye, so who knows? I mean, if there's any week for Rutgers to pull it off, it's this one. But I just can't trust this team. Like last year, at least, I don't know. Last year there was some hope. This year there's so many mistakes being made on special teams. There's so many mistakes being made on defense. Then the offensive line, there's injuries. Like, who knows like how that's gonna get fixed? Like, they could have another sack party. Well, like, nothing inspires confidence.
I like Mashoud Giwa out of
Giwa looks pretty good. Like, he's
actually good. So Donovan, our co-host, he's a player for Long Island actually this year. He's a senior, and Mashoud Giwa, they played together last year.
He
knows him very well, and he like isn't just like a guy who did well on Long Island. Like, he comes into the Big Ten, and when he replaces who was it? Was it Needham that went down?
I think it was Needham.
When Needham went down, I mean, he looked really solid. So
he did, yeah. And then I don't know, in Iowa, like Iowa Needham was back in the lineup, right? Or no?
He was back.
But then he also got knocked out again. So it's just like, I think Giwa also went back in at some point. But the offensive line hasn't been holding up too much. I don't know. But it just doesn't matter how many the offense scores because the defense seems to allow more. So until that changes, like, yeah, I'm going with the Huskies.
Definition of insanity would be picking Rutgers, given...
Right? But the weird part is, though, like... The weird part is with Rutgers and some of these teams, like even the Giants, it's like when you think they're dead, then they'll come out of the blue. So if there's one, I'm not going to rule a win out just for that one reason, because they did it last year when everyone thought they were dead. Minnesota came in on a 4-game win streak. They surprised. So I'm not going to say no way, but at the same time, I'm going to be realistic and say, probably not, especially against a Huskies team who looks, I would say, pretty good.
And you know what? Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I'm having a premonition that it's not even going to be 26-23. I think it could look ugly.
It could look ugly. Huskies could probably even run away with it, honestly.
They could. That's what I'm realizing now is like that home field momentum, even with all the traveling you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's the locker room is tense right now. I would assume not just like players being mad at each other, but being mad at themselves. And I got a feeling that after this game, I'm gonna be that old man angrily looking away from his wife, but holding the umbrella up, still caring about her in the rain. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I got a feeling, man. I hope I'm wrong,
Oh,
and
boy.
I'm not saying they can't win, but I'm
Yeah.
just having like the only other time I've had this like kind of premonition was Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl, and I was right about that.
Yeah, when the Broncos absolutely got embarrassed by Russell Wilson here at
I just
MetLife.
had this premonition of Peyton Manning shaking his head, and I was like, oh man, I just can see him looking disappointed right now.
Yeah.
I can see Shiano in that presser, just like, come on,
We'll
guys.
get there. We'll get there someday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, because the thing is, yeah, that's the whole Washington thing. That's against Ohio State. They scored 6, but their playmakers are all, they lost last year because they didn't execute. But this year, though, they're going to be at home. I mean, those 3 guys, like, I'd probably put money on each of them having a field day, if not all 3 of them. I mean, like, against the Rutgers defense, that's porous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, as much as Rutgers is going to score, Washington's going to outscore them, I'm sure. But like, it's unfortunate. And if they lose that game, especially in a blowout, can you imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like for the Oregon homecoming game? It's going to be so disappointing. Like
why did we make that our homecoming game?
I don't know. I think there was going to be.
Honestly, I know it's first week of the year, but Ohio would have been a good one. Iowa was already record breaking.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you can't have the homecoming on like a Friday and a blackout and like everything at the same time. So it's just like,
I guess because people are coming back from work.
Yeah, but I kind of like what they did with the homecoming game this year because, well, they picked a good opponent, but also they made it a late kickoff. So it's like they're really trying to like amp everybody and get everyone in the stadium. And
we're going to need that.
We're gonna need that against the Ducks, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Unfortunately,
No.
we could have a sellout stadium, we could have a good time, the band and the cheer, and everyone else the student section can do their part. It's just against the Ducks, it's not gonna move the needle. It might move the needle a little bit, but they're still gonna probably win by like at least 2 touchdowns, probably 3. So that's gonna be probably 20 points. But like, oh well, I mean we'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, I mean, it's just disappointing. I mean, hopefully Rutgers does some soul searching this bye week. They make some changes, and they at least
there's a team that needed it. It's us.
Yeah, and they put a respectable product out on that field against the Huskies, and maybe they get a win.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts on the state of Rutgers? On yourself as a Rutgers fan, hanging in there mentally, doing okay?
I'm doing okay, but like it's not easy. I mean, no, I think like we pretty much covered just about everything. So I mean, like just hang in there. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting bye week for the Scarlet Knights, and what changes can they make? How does this team look coming out? Because last year they're in a similar spot where the season was crashing down and they turned it around, and like who's to say they can't do the same? I mean, you know what I mean? As much as Washington's going to be a tough game, I mean, after what happened last year, like I do have a little bit of confidence that maybe Rutgers doesn't win the game, but at least they put together like a respectable fight and effort. At least they should win 5 games this season. Maybe they find a way to get to 6, maybe they don't, but I would say that the season's not over yet. Like let's not get rid of our optimism just yet. I mean, I think they could at the very least like look respectable. So and I mean, homecoming is always in October, and Oregon was the only choice because that was their only home game. And also, like, I mean, I don't know, I kind of like it. Like, I mean, I know we're gonna lose or whatever, but we're bringing
we embrace that.
Yeah, maybe we fix that, but we're bringing the oomph. We're making it a night kick. I really like that move. It should be a really good atmosphere, a fun time, and I mean, after 3 weeks off, 4 weeks of not being there, I feel like it's gonna be fun to finally go back and get to see like a top team in action against us, and see hopefully like all I really want now is for Rutgers. I feel like Minnesota, the Bull hopes might have sailed, but maybe they beat Washington. If they don't, like I don't know. I mean, hopefully they get 2 wins and and they look respectable for the rest of the year, and that's all I got.
Yeah.
But as for this question though, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I don't I'm not 100% sure honestly, but I I heard they were building like a new baseball stadium in Edison or something like that a few years ago. So I don't know, but maybe they're building it over here. I heard like with Zen in the picture, they're also going to be making renovations to Jersey Mike's Arena within a few years. So that's another project. And I don't know how Rutgers basketball is going to do this season either, because
a lot of Europeans coming over.
Yeah, Zerno and Battleau, and I heard like one of them's like, I think Zerno's supposed to be a really good shooter, but Peichel said Battleau was making a bunch of threes in practice and shooting 49%. So the two things Rutgers basketball is needed is size and shooting. And this year they got Bay Fall in the portal. They've gotten their shooters. They've gotten guys like Darren Buchanan. So I feel like, and they've gotten their defensive identity back. So, I mean, as much as last season was a disappointment, I feel like this season they could at the very least, be as close to as successful as last year, maybe even more, with a lot lower expectations. And, I feel like people enjoy that. So, I mean, that's my take on Rutgers basketball.
Cool. Well, that's going to do it for this rendition of Voice of College Football Rutgers. And if you like the show, hit the like and subscribe button. We were joined today by Arnav Sarkar, and his socials disappearing right now, but they're down below. Make sure you follow him, Arnav Sarkar _ on Instagram and Arnav Sarkar 100 on X. And thank you so much for joining, and definitely go Scarlet Knights. And I'll be on his show tomorrow, and you will be able to catch that after the fact. And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Go Scarlet Knights, guys. Adios.